I'm Jason Klamm, and this is the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. So I'm great with numbers, but luckily I doesn't really come into it that much. But yeah, mostly.
What's your favorite number?
My favorite number? That's a very good question. No,
that's a stupid question. Let me ask
I like
you a
17.
better question.
Any
17.
number, if it's got a 7 in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a better question.
Yes.
You have to guess. I'm going to think of a number between 1 and 10, and you have to guess if I'm really thinking of a number between 1 and 10, or if I'm just pretending that I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Okay, so I better let you run the show. It's your show.
That's fine. But it's feel free to interrupt. That's kind of the point of the show.
Right.
So we'll start out. Are you ready to go? I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I think we're going. So the year is 1965. The album is in one head and out the other, and in parentheses, the new emerging bigot. The artists, Burns and Schreiber, Avery Schreiber and Jack Burns, and my guest is Jonathan Katz. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me. What a pleasure.
So you picked this album, and while I might be loosely familiar with Burns and Schreiber, I had never heard this album, which, by the way, very short album. Unexpectedly short.
Yeah.
Less than 25 minutes, I think.
Really?
But, yeah, and I was actually quite shocked. It's got a great cover because it's the cab driver sketch on the cover.
I think that's the routine with which they're most associated is the
right
is the cab.
And it's a great bit. It's a long basically the album is 2 bits except for the make a song at the very end. It's the cab driver and the conventioneer on one side. One whole side is a 13-minute track. Where did you first hear this album?
I think it was I was into comedy through my cousin Paul and I got into comedy together. Lenny Bruce and Burns and Schreiber, and then my sister introduced me to musical comedy like Tom Lehrer.
Sure.
But Burns and Schreiber also, the first time I ever got on stage was in New York City at a club called Hilly's, where I think it was in the West Village in New York. And David Mamet and I got on stage and tried to do Burns and Schreiber because we didn't have any material of our own. And we lasted about 30 seconds.
30 seconds before you realized you couldn't do it anymore, or 30 seconds before they booed you off stage?
No, I think David probably could have gone a minute because he was better prepared than me. But as soon as I realized that I had to remember stuff.
Right.
I was done.
Did you try and do this bit? Do you remember the bit you tried to do?
I think we tried to do the taxi cab. But the one of the reasons I love them in retrospect is that they cut each other off. That I'm sure they had a real. I doubt that they worked with the script, but they were such an amazing team.
Sure, yeah.
And I think the track that I really fell in love with was the one about the faith healer, because so many comedians have done that, including Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's done it this well.
Right, yeah, and it's layered, to say the least. And the idea that, you talk about it seems like something that's so conversational that you would think, yeah, sure, I could memorize this and do it. I've got this in my head. And then I think the second you realize how complex this is, even if it's born out of improv, how complex this is kind of overwhelming.
But Jason, you could call up right now my cousin Paul and David Mamet and ask them to make the sound of the communist frog. And both of them would say, "Voodoo relief, my friends." It's just such an insane sound. And the idea that there were communist frogs living in... was it supposed to be happening in Florida?
I think so, yeah.
So I guess they were... This was set in a time when it was not very hip to be a communist.
Right.
And oddly enough, both of my parents were.
Really?
Yeah, my parents were both subpoenaed by the House Un-American Activities Committee, and they both pled the fifth.
That is more than
Yeah.
upsetting.
So I mean, neither of them believed in the communist frog. But yeah, so it means a lot to me on a bunch of different levels, but mostly comedically.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
Is there so
And I'm guessing,
yeah.
Jason, that this is going to be interspersed with some of the album itself.
Yeah, I normally throughout the episode, every 10 minutes or so, I'll throw a clip of 30
Right.
seconds to a minute in so that people can get an idea of what we're talking about, including, like, you know, especially if there's a specific beat or a specific, you know, character moment that you
Right.
like. I always like to point that out to
Right.
people so they can hear what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I think the one thing that stood out, or at least is in my memory, is the one thing that my mother always used to quote, which was just the the cutting off of one another,
yeah.
just as a bit, just that was that could be a bit is kind of wonderful, and you definitely see a lot of. It makes me think of just about anything that Christopher Guest and Billy Crystal did on SNL. They really took a lot from this, which is fine, but
Right.
you can hear that influence pretty clearly too.
Yeah, and also they were based in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jack Burns and Avery Schreiber, I think, that they came out of Second City.
Yes, that's right.
So, I was also around the time listening to Nichols and May,
Sure.
Jerry Stiller and Ann Mira.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to work with Jerry Stiller. I made a movie with him.
That's all. That's amazing.
A wonderful movie called The Independent, where Janine Garofalo was my love interest, although she would say it was just a bad date.
That's fantastic.
You should try to see that movie if you ever can, because he portrays a guy who made really bad movies and knew it. And somebody offered to buy his entire catalog and pay him by the pound. And you can see a scene from that on my website.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm surprised I haven't seen it. There's a point where I watched everything Janine Garofalo was in, so I'm surprised I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Is the cab driver? I'm sure I've heard it before, but I had never obviously heard the entire thing.
Yeah.
Is there something specific, not necessarily about this bit, but about this album that made you pick it? How many albums did you listen to before you heard this? I want an exact number.
Yeah, 43.
What kind of stuff were you listening to before? Did this change the kind of comedy you listened to, or was this the kind of stuff you were listening to at the time?
I think Lenny Bruce was the first comedy album I listened to.
Mm-hmm.
Lenny Bruce Live at Carnegie Hall.
Sure.
Which some people think is one of his worst, but I happen to love it. And then I guess I don't think I had discovered Woody Allen at that point. And then as a kid, I listened to funny songs, the songs that my sister thought was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a song about the railroad goes through the middle of my house, which you probably don't know.
I do not know that one.
Yeah. And, I guess, I was a kid in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to a podcast your podcast with Dr. Demento, who I think is a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
But I did recognize some of his references.
Sure.
It scares me.
Well, I mean, Spike Jonze, there was a good 25-year period where you couldn't not know who he was, and then oddly fell off the map for the rest of us.
I was aware of him. I was trying to convince my wife that she would love Spike Jonze.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a success. She does love me, however.
Well, see, there you go. That's at least nothing changed.
Yeah.
God cannot win this battle against the atheistic, communistic conspiracy without your help. God needs your financial aid in this struggle against the communists. God needs your help. God knows God needs your help. My friends, my program, The Word of Truth, is broadcast on 150 stations throughout the United States and Canada. And of course, I need your financial aid to continue this battle against the atheistic, communistic conspiracy. So we ask you to send whatever you can, be it a penny, a dime, or a dollar, to Kill a Commie for Christ, Box 224. Box 224, Tulsa, Oklahoma. You do it today, you'll feel better for it tomorrow. Here, my friends. My friends, we have with us this week, as we do every week, many poor, unfortunate, handicapped individual Christian brothers. Good Lord has seen fit. Good Lord has seen fit to strike them down during Passover. Why? We do not know.
That's it. He is, I wouldn't necessarily say an acquired taste, but a taste for a certain type of mind. I do think you have to be either a comedy lover or of the period or both in order to appreciate it. Maybe. Yeah. I could be wrong. But that's what it felt like to me, because it took me a second to get into what it was and to understand them. But, that's kind of what I do.
But this guy that I introduced you to, Jeff Martyr, is that his name?
Yes. I believe so.
He also, when I did stand-up with him on the road, anytime we had any time off, he would go looking for flea markets that sell with old... I guess they weren't that old at the time. This is, well, in the 80s, 33s were pretty... scarce of comedy,
right?
And I found Woody Woodbury, which I tried to listen to and I couldn't. And then I heard Phil. Is it Phil Kendry or Hendry?
Phil Hendry, yeah.
He said he was talking about how wonderful he was.
Yeah, it's such a mixed bag when you interview people, the kind of stuff that they're going to love and not. I mean, that's why I'm not a. I used to be a real big snob about highbrow and lowbrow, and then sort of realized that doesn't really... That's a useless definition, at least for me. It doesn't help me anymore.
But I did discover through your podcast that I have so much in common with that guy, with Phil Hendry.
Yeah. Oh, he's wonderful.
Just in terms of really loving audio and comedy. But I was amazed to hear that he does his podcast in real time, and he does all the voices himself with no editing.
It's upsetting. And to watch him do it, because you can watch him do it online, just the speed with which he does it, the fluidity with which he does it, seeming ease, but obviously, there's no way that... there's no way it's not complex for him still, but just it does not seem to be, and it's good God, and that it's all improvised. I don't know how he does it at all.
Yeah. Hey, Jason, do you do any accents yourself?
On occasion, if it's called for.
Can you do a British accent for me?
What would I be saying, and what part of England am I from?
Just if you could say, this is if you can introduce me with a British accent, that would be great. Or just tell me your name with a British accent is even better.
Oh, okay, sure. Hello, this is Jason Klamm with the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. Here with me today is Jonathan Katz.
And what about a French accent?
My French accent is for garbage. It would sound exactly the same as the English.
Well, do it then. No. Can you do any other accents?
Reliably? I'm trying to think. I am from upstate New York, but if you do an upstate New York accent, it's like it's like every other, other strip along the Appalachians.
What town in upstate New York?
Lawrence, New York, near Oneonta, near Cooperstown.
Oh, you know this town, Skaneateles?
Yes, I do.
It's a hotbed of comedy talent.
This is what I'm told.
Yeah, Bobcat Goldthwait, Barry Crimmins, Tom Kenny. They all grew up there. It's so weird.
I keep waiting to get them on the show as well, because you don't find a lot of upstate names in the comedy world. At least not as many as I would expect. It's not the it's not the 30s anymore. So there's not a lot of people in upstate doing comedy. But those two guys are hilarious.
Let's go back to Burns and Schreiber.
Let's do it.
I'm too easily distracted. I'm trying to remember. I think. Oh, are they on Columbia Records?
This one
Were
that
they?
I'm looking at is a Columbia record. Yes, this one is
Yeah, because
in particular.
that's how it happened. Because my cousin Paul's father, was an art director at Columbia,
Really?
and he would bring home reel-to-reels of Nat King Cole, and he did the artwork for Dylan,
Wow.
and brought home the Burns and Schreiber album one day. And he found me, he loved me, but he found me so annoying. And the fact that my cousin Paul and I were borrowing his reel-to-reel tape recorder just to pretend we're Burns and Schreiber drove him nuts. And we also recorded scenes from Mad Magazine.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I have my whole life on audio, which is, just in case you ever want to know what I sounded like as when I was 8.
Can I tell you, I absolutely do, and I'm the exact same way. I've been doing these same things since I was a kid. I have an entire podcast dedicated to sketches I was doing when I was 13 with my best friend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have like 50 VHS tapes worth of garbage that we thought was really funny at 13.
Yeah. Had your voice changed?
Not much. A little bit.
Yeah.
Considerably. Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's a different kind of hoarding, but it's, if you archive it online, it's not so bad.
Yeah, I know. It feels like it has more of a purpose because, nobody has to come see your crap, but they can if they want.
Yeah. And also, I think the sound of someone's voice means more than their image, to me.
Do you think it
It's more
emotionally or
potent.
what?
Yeah, no, emotionally. I think it's more potent. In fact, I spent a year of my life trying to find the sound of my mother's voice. And that journey ended up on This American Life.
That's amazing. So going through all of your old tapes just to hear her somewhere
Yeah.
directly on mic or in the background?
And no, it was just, she would play the piano and I'd play the violin. And whenever somebody called our home, they always thought she was Mr. Katz. She was a smoker.
Uh-huh.
But she died when I was very young, and so for me it meant a great deal to hear her voice. Oddly enough, the piece that Ira Glass did was more about my sister and I going back to our homes in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
He was not interested in my mother's voice at all.
So how much is of that whole piece is in there? Any of it?
None.
None.
No.
That's too bad. Do you
But
have that posted online somewhere? I hope.
That's on in the This American Life archives.
Oh, okay.
It was called for Return to Childhood. It was a segment in that, and it was at least 10 years ago or 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I mean, having these, that's one of the purposes of this show too. I mean, obviously we don't get to, there aren't LPs of too many comedians when they were 8 to when they were, in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, but there is, it always means something to us at the time. Is there something that this correlates with in your life? Or, I mean, I could be jumping to conclusions there, but is there anything that this reminds you of? Does it remind you of getting on stage with David Mamet, or does it remind you of being just your friendship as a kid?
Are you talking about Burns and Schreiber?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. It does remind me of my connection to my Uncle Abe, my cousin Paul, to David, to comedy, and I think even to Dr. Katz, because one of the things about Dr. Katz which was fun was that we were allowed to interrupt each other.
Yeah.
No, there was no conceit to manners. It was just totally people talking over each other, and occasionally would stop talking because we were laughing so hard. But yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize for the silence. I know it doesn't play well.
No, it's okay. I mean, you're thinking. I mean, I hope people understand that I actually panic whenever I pause on this show, and I just try and cover it with speaking and then forget what I was talking about. So worry not.
Do you edit the audio yourself?
I do. I don't edit a whole lot unless there's something where somebody really doesn't want something in there. So if any racial epithets come out of either one of us, I'll try and cut them out.
Yeah. Are you married?
I am.
If you could just remove this from the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
I slept with your wife.
Oh. I will make sure to definitely remove. I'll bring. Should I bring it up with her, or should we just leave it as it happened?
No. But okay. I actually slept.
Oh.
I was exhausted. Do you have kids?
I do not.
Oh. How long have you been married?
Let's see. 2 and a few months. 2 years and a few months.
Oh. Can you say that with a German accent? No, I'm kidding. I'm asking too much of you. The reason I'm asking about these accents is because in my next podcast, I'm going to portray a guy that has a voiceover agency.
Uh-huh.
So this is going to come in very handy.
It's pretty weird. The blood of a lamb. That's not too weird. No, we don't do it. It sounds good. Once in a while, you'll get a squeak. But
not you, buddy. No.
That's all right. Hold it up there now. As long as you believe that.
From the bottom.
All right. Oh, Lord, looky here. Oh, Lord, he has a twisted left hand. Lord, he is sorry. Oh, Lord, I believe he is sorry. And Lord, I ask you now to please, in front of all my witnesses, Lord, to please make that one hand like the other. Lord, I beg of you, make that one hand like the other. Lord, please make that one hand like the other.
Something's happening.
Oh, my God, he did.
Wait a minute. You got the wrong hand here.
A little more faith. Move along. Put some money in the pot there in the way out. Move along there, son. I'll tell you, that bugs me when that happens. Come on, Lord, shape up.
I feel like when I first watched Dr. Katz, to me, the idea of stepping on one another's lines and apparent improv seemed obviously groundbreaking to me because I'd never really heard that before. It's good to know where, obviously, at this point, having gone to college and done some studying myself, I know that while your show didn't invent it, it certainly perfected it at the time for me. It's great to listen to. Oh no, this is kind of where it came from for you. I love having that. Like I had Billy West on the show a couple weeks ago. That podcast hasn't aired yet. And he told me about, this is not just the Three Stooges were the source of Ren and Stimpy, but this particular Three Stooges little yellow plastic album was the root for it. That's where I discovered it. Those little bits and pieces, those are what's kind of fun to discover.
Now, you're not old enough to know about going into a little booth, and it sounds like it could go very dark, this story, but going into a little booth in Grand Central Station and recording your voice.
No, I know. That is something that they still exist in a few places just, for hipsters. But, I've always regretted that I didn't live in a period of time when I could just go to a booth and pay a couple bucks and... I'm assuming you have one. You must have one that you recorded, or more.
I'm looking around the room. I don't, but I have so many forms of audio recording that are obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
I have a machine called the L cassette recorder.
Uh-huh.
And that's a format that did not catch on.
What is different from the cassette I would think of?
It's much bigger than a cassette. It's like it was a step. It was like trying to go from the cassette to the reel-to-reel with an extra step.
Oh boy!
That was the L cassette.
I've almost bought a few of those old, not necessarily that, but I've almost bought an Edison, a cylinder recorder. I held back because it was expensive, and then an Edison wire recorder, which would have sounded like garbage, but still would have been fascinating.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing to own that.
I know. And I'm pretty sure that it was at an estate sale. I would have gotten it for less than $50, and it still had unused. Yeah. I love that stuff. I don't know why. I couldn't begin to tell you why, but it's just fascinating to me.
Well, I have all these still photos of movie studios, and the thing I like the most is looking at the audio equipment that they used.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also photos of Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, which is cool, but I go with the equipment.
Have you always been obsessed with that?
Well, it was happened with my father, who at the time was working as a synagogue administrator in New York, and brought home a Wollensack reel-to-reel.
Mm-hmm.
And that became my favorite toy for the next 10 years.
Sure.
And then I graduated to a TIAC stereo machine, then a TIAC 4-track. But I've always... And then when I was in college, I learned how to bounce from one stereo machine to another one to do multi-track recording. And in fact, next week I'm going to Vermont to get my honorary doctorate degree.
That's
from Goddard College, and that was my senior study, was a recording of 3 blind mice.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, were you originally? I'm assuming your early stuff that you were recording and being obsessed with your own voice. I only say that because I understand the realities of being obsessed with your own voice. But were you're just being goofy with yourself and your friends, and eventually, I mean, were you musical from? I mean, maybe I don't know how many people know like what a musician you are, but you're a musician as well as a comedian. So how early, I guess, did music enter into your recording?
I would say by age 12.
Makes sense.
Maybe even earlier, because my cousin Paul and I wrote some of the worst songs ever. Really bad. I think that's one of the reasons my uncle hated me. He didn't hate me, that's too strong. But he did die of a heart attack listening to me singing. No.
What kind of stuff were you writing?
Die, Uncle, die.
What a horrible child.
Yeah. No, we wrote a song called Igor. He's so cruel, he brings his monkey to school. It was really terrible stuff. And then I wrote one sweet song as a sort of a 12-year-old. I'll sing a tiny bit of it. Hey there, Miss Lovely, can I talk to you? I'm going to send you audio, sorry. I can't even... But I did write some really good songs, and I even got one recorded commercially by Buzz Cason. Do you know that name?
I don't, and I feel bad that I don't.
Well, he wrote the song Everlasting Love.
Sure.
In the 70s. Everlasting Love, which was recorded by a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
And my song No Place for a Lady, written under the pseudonym Johnny Trevitt, was a B-side on one of his songs.
Holy crap.
People don't even know B-sides.
Yeah, I know it's not an issue anymore. You pick what you want. Wow. See, that's fascinating to me. So wait, what year is this that we're talking?
This is in the 60s. I signed with a music publisher in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave the rights away to so many songs thinking that was a good thing.
Right. Oh, my God.
I thought I was in show business.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's the draw. I often wonder, too, like, if I would have stuck with comedy if I hadn't been better at something else necessarily. But it's interesting to me that, you know, as well-known as you are for comedy, that you got into it with well, what kind of music was it? That's my question.
It was mostly original music and a few cover songs. And the songs were written by me, and I was the front man for the band.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of songs. One song I wrote with David Mamet called "This Heart Is Closed for Alterations," and
That is
Robin
fantastic.
Williams sang it on Mork and Mindy.
My goodness.
And we did a cover songs, a lot of R&B cover songs. But most of the songs were original, and I had a very beautiful young woman play bass. Her boyfriend was a great sax player.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 5-piece band, and on a good night we made $500. And we never had a good night. Oh, finally a joke. Finally.
Hey, don't expect anything from me because I save that for my other podcasts, which are garbage, admittedly. Do you So at this time, was comedy even in your world other than you enjoyed it and you were probably funny on your own with friends? I mean, when did you start doing
I remember my first joke, and I feel like I'm dropping another name here, but my best friend in elementary school was Josh Mostel, the son of Zero Mostel.
Holy cow. Yeah, sure.
And he once said to me, and he was a very large kid, and he said to me, "Your bat's in the belfry." And I said to him, thinking this was funny, "And your fat's in the belly." That was my first joke.
Oh, my God.
But but I did get to go to see him on Broadway and stand in the wings and watch half-naked women walk out on stage.
Of course. And that would have been in Fiddler on the Roof. A very risque production of Fiddler on the Roof.
I guess that was a funny thing that happened on the way to the Forum.
I would hope so. Who was Phil Silvers ever in the actual stage show of that? Am I just misremembering? I know he's in the film.
No, I think he just the film.
Just the film.
Zero Mostel was, and Jack Guilford were in the stage show.
Okay. My goodness. I can't imagine seeing Zero Mostel live. That just, wow.
Yeah, and he also, my parents knew him through their days as lefties.
Mm-hmm.
And he too was subpoenaed. You know, anybody who was sort of a nice guy was subpoenaed.
Yeah. They figure you're going to bend, I assume.
Yeah.
My God. Wow.
I think Woody Allen did a movie about the Blacklist. Maybe it was called The Blacklist.
I wish I knew his material better. I only know I know the stuff that people don't respect as much. I really love Take the Money and Run.
Oh, I love that too.
It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Cab. Taxi. Cab.
Taxi.
Taxi cab, yeah, there you go.
Where to, friend?
Going to Hotel Astor, room 518.
They stopped me on the 4th floor.
Oh, yeah. I got you. That's quite a city you got out there, what you call your New York.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
Yeah. I bet you there are 8 million stories out there. That's probably the crossroad of 1 million private lives. Broken heart for every light bulb in the Great White Way.
I like really goofy stuff, which is another reason to bring it back to this album. One of the reasons I really enjoyed this, because it is very goofy and light in tone, except the stuff it's dealing with is, boy oh boy, like so racially charged in such a great way.
Yeah.
Like I said, the subtitle sort of is The New Emerging Bigot. That's what most of this is. That's underlying in all of this. It's just it's this interesting FU to a time that they wish would go away. I feel like.
What do you mean by an interesting FU?
I should have just said an interesting fuck you instead of shortening it.
That's okay. You know what word really drives me nuts is friggin'.
Friggin'? Does that bother you?
I think it's so without emotion.
Sure. Oh, I agree. There's no K. We can start there. There's no K sound.
I get it. I understand about censorship, but
sure.
I'm just trying to think if there was anything else around the time of Lenny Bruce and Burns and Schreiber that was funny for me.
Have you ever met Jack Burns? Did you ever meet Avery Schreiber before he went?
No, I never saw them live. But I did. I don't know if this is a song you've ever heard of. A song that Bob Dylan. You should play this on your show because it's an obscure song of Bob Dylan's called "Lenny Bruce is Dead."
You know, people have brought that up a few times on the show, and like an idiot, I've never looked it up.
Yeah, I'll try to send you. Rob, can you remind me to send Jason that song? It's another thing that arrived home by way of my uncle.
Mm-hmm. See, that's a fun thing. Like it's a mixed bag when I talk to comedians of, did your parents bring comedy into the house, or were you introduced to it through friends? You had a great industry connection where I guess every once in a while you'd get comedy.
Also, I hear my mother was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
I hear this from my friends. I just found her, was wondering why she was hanging out with me and my friends, embarrassing me. My dad loved my comedy if he saw other people his age laughing. But this is his best joke, my father's best joke. Hey, Jason, did you hear about the fight at the bakery?
I didn't. What happened?
2 rolls got fresh.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's what I was up against. I had to find peace in that world. Oh.
But what's interesting to me though is like you weren't just, oh, I tried music first. You didn't just try music, you did it, and you did it well. When did comedy happen?
Comedy, well, this is the short explanation. When I sang, people talked. And when I talked, people listened. Mm-hmm. And when I danced, people left. So that's an abbreviated version of my transition from music to comedy.
But it seems then, I mean, you could have potentially then made your career as songwriter only if you'd have done that, but you needed to perform, I have to assume.
Yeah, and I also could not write a hit song.
I guess that would also change things, yeah.
The closest I came was a song called The Locomotion.
Oh, wow. Well, there we go.
Which I wrote for Little Eva. But other people deny that.
Sure,
like
that's
the
understandable.
guys who actually wrote the song.
You wrote a lot of Leadbelly's tunes, too, didn't you?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. In fact, I was the first guy to call him Leadbelly.
Wow. He just went by Leadbetter for a while, and you're like, listen.
Yeah, that's not going to catch on. My other familial connection to the music business was my father was going to marry Woody Guthrie's ex-wife after he passed away. But she didn't like my father's kids, meaning me and my sister. So that didn't work out.
That's unfortunate.
But Arlo Guthrie could have been my half-brother. I became good friends with Nora Guthrie, his sister, and Jody Guthrie, his brother.
Would you get half-price tickets if you went to the Guthrie in Minnesota? Just curious if that were to happen. If that had gone through.
I did perform at that theater.
You did?
With Robin Williams. I toured with Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. I was playing 2 songs on tour with Robin Williams. Born to be Punished and This Heart is Closed for Alterations.
Uh-huh.
And he sang them both, and as only he can.
Mm-hmm. When was this? Because I mean, I see online that you're credited as musical director for his 1979 tour. Is this after what you're talking about now, or what are we talking about?
The tour was in '78, and it was one of the worst credits ever because he's not a musician; he's a comedian.
Yeah,
it'd be like being the in charge of comedy for Isaac Stern.
Right.
To do all his witty quips between sonatas.
So see that. So this is what's hurting my brain is the idea of him performing music, and that is something that would not have occurred to me.
Well, here's how that happened: is that his first wife, a woman named Valerie, was my girlfriend in college, and many years later she introduced us, and she said, Jonathan, I married this very funny guy, and he should do your songs. And I said, okay.
Yeah, I mean, who are you to turn that down? But wow, that's... And was it just for this one tour, then, that this happened?
Yeah, but I mean, we remained friends, and we became fathers around the same time. So my oldest daughter hung out with his baby boy.
Wow. What is okay? So, and because my apologies for not knowing, what album did an album come from that tour? I have to imagine.
Reality, What a Concept.
Okay, I thought
and
so.
I think I have a credit on the album. I don't have a song, however.
But you do have a credit on the album itself.
Yeah, because I played acoustic guitar with a. His opening act was this act called Rick and Ruby.
Okay.
A wonderful act from San Francisco, and they played electric guitar, and she sang, and there was a pianist named Josh Brody who was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But they were very quirky, and I actually I could watch their act night after night. And Robin, I could only watch a couple of times because his energy scared me.
I can completely understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was. It's a trite comparison, but what it must have been like to be around Jonathan Winters, except maybe again, including the drugs, it had to have been its own thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I once sold a vial of his urine for $500 to one of his fans, and I wasn't even broke. But no, he was so hot in '78 off of Mork and Mindy.
Mm-hmm.
But he was an amazing talent. He really was. And as an actor as well as a comedian.
Well, sure. No, yeah, of course. I mean, that's it's so hard to. That energy can be so, like you said, it can be scary, maybe to some off-putting. We just did a tribute episode to him a few weeks ago, a live episode that was a tribute to Robin. And, I mean, that's one of those things where you talk about where some people don't necessarily appreciate the skill that went into being that crazy on stage.
Yeah.
And like to be in front of it, I can, maybe not necessarily even intimidating, but definitely it's like, where the hell is this coming from?
Yeah.
That it would make me anxious. I know the person I am, I can tell that would make me incredibly anxious to be around, but fascinating.
Yeah, the last time I saw Robin was at the Four Seasons in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him a joke, and he was such a generous laugher.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him I had seen a production of the Vagina Monologues with Senor Wences. And he would turn a joke into like a half-hour bit.
Yeah.
But he was an amazing guy.
Dave's a ladies' man. He's what we call your ladies' man. I say, Dave, you're a nut. Get out of here, Dave. I say that to him a lot. Get out of here. I don't mean that. I just say that to him. Get out of here, Dave. Dave's a hot. You know what Dave did? You got a minute? Listen to this. Dave brings this tie with him to the convention. It shines in the dark.
Yeah, that's funny.
Huh?
That's funny.
Huh?
That's funny.
Huh?
Huh? That's funny.
All right. That's only half of it. Now listen. On one side of the tie, it says "Win with Wilkie." See? You turn it over on the other side, it says "Screw you, buddy." What a hot Jeez, we had him up there last night in the hotel room for 3 hours in the dark, looking at that tie. What a night that was. What a night that was.
This guy sounds like a hot ticket.
Oh, Dave. You kidding me? You're going to start telling me how funny Dave Cronin is? Don't start telling me about Dave Cronin. For God's sakes, Dave and I go back for years. You're going to start telling me about Dave? Don't start telling me about Dave, my friend. Don't ever start with me about Dave Cronin.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
All right.
And here we go. Yes, I do see your credit. The audience would have heard me pulling this out of the sleeve, but yes, you are credited as a musician on that album.
Yeah.
Third musician. It doesn't say third musician, but you are the third. Not that the credit order matters. I'm just saying. I'm surprised I never noticed it. I have listened to this a number of times. I'm shocked that I've never noticed your name. That's kind of the interesting thing too. Is a lot of names that I'll interview on the show or we'll talk about will weave in and out of other people's projects, and people are usually they don't always mention that they were involved in a sideways way in somebody else's project. Did you ever? Okay, so we've got a lot of. Go ahead.
I'm getting another call, and it's going to stop making that beep in a sound in a second. Okay.
Okay. You can take the call and record it if you want.
No. But I was going to mention another connection I had to the credibility gap.
Oh, yeah.
Who I forget who was talking about that.
Yeah, Greg Benson, hilarious guy, YouTube personality. We were talking about.
I met David Lander through the wonderful world of MS.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because, and this is a trick question. In my home, I have an Emmy Award, a Cable Ace Award, and an award from the MS Society called the Gift of Laughter Award, which was presented by David Lander to me. And which of those three awards do you think mean the most to me?
The assumption is number 3, but you're Jonathan Katz, so I want to know your actual answer.
Come on, take a guess.
I'm going to say number 3.
Which one was that?
The MS award.
No, it's the Emmy because I'm an asshole like everybody else.
That's fine. That's you know what? You were more than free to admit it. I mean, like you've been a gentleman so far to me, but I'll you know.
No, but David Lander and I had such a great time at this convention because I discovered that what people do at these conventions is they get high. I had no idea.
It makes sense. You've earned it.
Yeah.
That is a guy. That is a guy who I would. He's another guy whose involvement in the comedy that I love, I feel like, was underrated until I discovered the Credibility Gap years ago when I first grabbed one of their albums, and in my head he was just from Laverne and Shirley until oh crap, this guy's a brilliant genius, and wow, yeah. Have you ever talked to him about that? The world of that kind of comedy, since you do really enjoy audio comedy?
When he was in Boston once, he came to my home and we recorded together. And it was about, he played a sports announcer named Brian Askew. Which is just the name itself is such a
fantastic
wonderful setup for a bit. But I'm sure he lives in L.A. I'm sure he would be happy to do your show.
That would be great. I have reached out to him, and that would be something that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of physical shape he's in, because it takes a different course in everybody.
For sure. Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of who else has a connection to comedy in those days. Did you ever get Lenny Bruce's daughter on the show?
That's another person I've reached out to. I've tried to get her on the show a few times. And that's something we've interviewed, the sons and daughters of some of my favorite comedians, and we hope to do more of that also. Yeah. But every once in a while, I'll find out a few of them are friends already. So for instance, Kelly Carlin and Rob Newhart, I'm going to try and get them both on the same episode to talk about Richard Pryor, because I think that would be a lot of fun.
This is just what we used to call a coincidence, is that Richard Pryor and I have the same birthday and the same illness that he had. It was not his biggest medical problem, but he did have MS.
Sure.
And it's the same birthday. It's shared by Woody Allen and Sarah Silverman.
That's interesting.
And then also a guy named Ed Hochstein.
That is also that is equally interesting, even though I don't know the name.
Ed Hochstein is a financial planner who couldn't make it in comedy. Jeez, I'm so predictable.
Do you have a favorite line off of this album? I had to write down some of mine that kind of stuck out.
I'm just trying to think. There was something about, it might be in the Cab thing about, I guess Jack Burns is talking about what it's like at conventions he goes to. And he said, "Oh, I was up there all night with this guy. We had win with Wilkie ties." Talks about putting a lampshade on his head, which is a big deal in those days. I never quite saw the appeal of that. But let me see about in the Faith Healer one.
Mm-hmm.
I think
they do say "kill a commie for Christ," which is one of my favorite lines in that. Whole
and
bit.
also the Reverend's name is Moly.
Yeah.
So he says, "Holy moly!"
It's so ridiculous, but I love it.
They just were nuts. Those guys were great. The Sound of the Communist Frog. I mentioned that already.
Yes, right.
I'm going to do my impression of a communist frog, and then you can play theirs. This is how I would portray a communist frog. Ribbed. And they have a totally different approach.
They certainly do.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I could do that with there.
There is a bit where he's asking one gentleman about it, and his accent seems to reveal quite a bit to the Reverend.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a convite.
Yeah. And also,
So
one of my favorite lines is the first time he's trying to be healed is he's portraying a guy with a immobile thumb.
Yes.
And Jack Burns says, "Immobility, immobility, immobility. How many times have I heard that tiresome phrase?" 3 times. That was Avery Schreiber who said 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, the years go by, they forget you're veterans. Yeah. Now you go into a bar room, you see a girl, you say, "I'm a veteran," you know what they say?
Forget it.
Yeah, that's it. So what, they say. But in them days, it was something else. Oh, listen, I put on a few pounds, I admit it. The years go by, they roll by, they go by.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone. But in them days, they were all over me. Well.
Say, listen, buddy, if you like, I can make a little stop before you go back to your hotel room.
I can wait till I get back to the hotel.
I don't think we're talking about the same thing here.
I know you're talking about what, your women, huh?
Yeah, women. Women. I'm talking about the women.
Not for my friend El Paso on that. No, I don't go that. Nah.
Yeah, well, don't take it as an insult.
Well,
it's my job.
Yeah.
Well, here you are, buddy.
Huh?
We're here.
Oh.
That's $1.45.
Yeah. So, what do you drive a cab, huh?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. You're lucky you caught me when I was.
Yeah.
It's this interesting mix of, like, obviously these guys come from this new emerging, not all that new, I guess, in 1970? No, this is 1965. So it's newer, this form of improv. But there's also there's always this temptation to go a little shticky, which is fine because I love that kind of comedy. But it is funny listening to that mix because you don't find it as much in improv where people are taking it a lot, I guess, more seriously for whatever reason. So you don't find like the temptation to go shticky as you might then.
You've said the word shticky twice now.
I love the word. Yep. Should I say it again?
Which makes me feel like you should book Andy Kindler on your podcast.
He is already booked, and I don't know when that's going to happen, but I am so excited for whenever that is.
Yeah, he's so wonderful.
Absolutely, he is.
And when he's in therapy with me on stage, which we've been doing lately, he says, "Dr. Katz, are you doing shtick?" Yeah, he's wonderful, Andy Kindler.
Oh God, he's a genius. And there are only certain types of comedians who can keep alive a certain type of humor without it seeming like a hack move. Like you can still build on these older forms of comedy. I mean, otherwise improv wouldn't still be alive either, because it's just a tool. It's a fun tool that you can use.
Before we did Dr. Katz, I would go out to see live improv with my friend Tom Snyder, the co-creator of the show. Mm-hmm. And we decided we didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
'Cause they should just do the funny parts,
Right.
which is why editing became so valuable.
Sure. I mean, that's that's another huge thing too. Is there are a couple examples in that period of when Dr. Katz came out of stuff that feels improvised and usually is, but also has the benefit of editing. Yours has more of the benefit of editing than a Christopher Guest documentary. But there are these things that may be, not that you're responsible for this, but these things that made everybody think they could improvise. And a lot of people are trying to recapture the magic of, again, Dr. Katz or any Christopher Guest movie.
One of those people is Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Sure.
Who asked Tom Snyder how we could possibly get such a natural sound.
Mm-hmm.
He would never... he's not big with the attribution, Larry David.
That happens. That'll happen.
Yeah.
In this business. Is that where we have to leave it? I feel like we have to leave that.
I think so. I mean, he married my ex-manager, so our lives became sort of intermingled for a while there.
That is interesting. I don't know what to make of that.
Well, I think the what I made of it is that she didn't really find me attractive. That's Van Morrison calling. I gave him his own ringtone.
You're so generous.
Yeah. Let's see if they left a message. It was coming from 213, which is your neighborhood.
That is true. Van lives right down the street.
Yeah.
Do you remember, is there, just because I really do like this cover, do you remember, are there any particular albums in terms of album art, since it seems like you brought home a lot of stuff? Was there anything in particular that stood out to you?
I wanted to decorate the basement of my home with album artwork, but my wife had other plans.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So, I mean, I did throw out some amazing album covers. Most of them were music. I don't think any were comedy.
See, that's the thing about, like, I mean, I think I just have to, because I do this podcast. I do have at least half of a wall are a lot of album covers that I particularly love, but there's never enough room for all the ones that I just keep discovering newer and newer ones, or getting signed ones on occasion, like from Firesign Theater or Rusty Warren.
Yeah.
I love having those as a reminder. They're nice. I mean, these bits of art. I actually have a friend who I think he just said he's going to be framing. He's got enough copies of this one Firesign album that he's cut it in half so he can frame the entire piece as one long piece of art, which is kind of great.
I have to revisit Firesign Theater because I was a little too distracted at the time they came out.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. A lot of people were. I feel like that's why that's one of the reasons why they're not given nearly as much credit as they deserve. For breaking a lot of new ground, or a lot of ground that might have been being broken at the same time by other people who were then more recognized for it. You got a long back catalog to go through, but there's a lot of great stuff in there.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that I have all the time in the world. No, I don't. I wish I did. But I think, tell me when you feel like we have a comfortable amount of material for you to work with.
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask you if you're going to recommend this album for people to listen to if they don't know who Burns and Schreiber are, or even if they do and they're not familiar with this type of material. What's a good reason to listen to this album and give this one a listen as their first bit of exposure to them?
Well, I'm missing another call, which is okay. The reason to listen to Burns and Schreiber is because they're silly, they're incredibly well rehearsed.
Mm-hmm.
They are almost like a musical on. They're there's a lot of musicality in their act, with the exception of Avery Schreiber playing the guitar, which I don't think is necessary.
Right.
But just the way their voices work together and the way they step on each other's lines, and it's that wonderful thing where they cut each other off in a comedic way. And I think it's just politically potent. It's a really wonderful picture of what life was like at that time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even necessarily the hippie aesthetic. It's its own thing, and I like that we can find something from this period that's got its own feeling to it. I mean, these two guys that are making all their commentary through very seemingly silly sketches that underneath them are a lot deeper.
Yeah, they had their own show after that, and they appeared on the Dean Martin show, which is a credit I don't have,
unfortunately.
But you were talking about Robin's genius. I'm backtracking a little bit. He had the same gift that Letterman had, was to make things appear spontaneous.
Sure.
And that's such an amazing talent.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of retreading something like this, it starts out as improv and making it, again, to be able to interrupt somebody and act as though you made that decision, or to act like you're being interrupted for the first time, there's an awful lot of skill there.
Yeah. My dad came to see me on Letterman one night, and he asked the producer, who was Bob Morton at the time, he said to him, "Do you really need all these people?" He couldn't believe how many people were involved in making a half hour of comedy.
That's fantastic.
The size of the crew. But I think we should maybe take a break for a few years. No, I mean, maybe stop now. And
where can people follow you online? Twitter?
On Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. I don't know how you do that. How do you follow me on Twitter?
You just search for Jonathan Katz.
Yeah, you search for my name.
Easy enough.
My Twitter handle is, I think, Jonathan.
It's Jonathan Katz, right?
Yeah, Jonathan _Katz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the best place to find me.
Sounds good.
I'm a habitual tweeter.
So go follow Jonathan Katz on Twitter. Go watch him live. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the show. I really do appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Jason, my pleasure.
And as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of Stolen Dress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klamm. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. Please visit stolendress.com to listen to our other podcasts, read our blogs, read our tweets, watch our videos, and read our books. Please subscribe on iTunes, and if you like us, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. You can find us on facebook.com/comedyonvinyl, Twitter @comedyonvinyl, and find everything else at comedyonvinyl.com.